I think Geneva may be the next stop, and then you eventually go to somewhere where you get all three major leaders of all the parties. You get the President Putin, and President Zelensky together and hammer this thing out and come to some type of signed document that ends this war.
President Trump's special envoy to Ukraine, Keith Kellogg, teasing potential next steps in peace talks with Russia. But there's a war of words escalating between Putin and Trump. The president posting this on Truth Social after a weekend attack on Ukraine, saying, "I've always had a very good relationship with Putin of Russia, but something has happened to him. He has gone absolutely crazy." General Jack Keane is here. And General, there is a think tank in the UK called the Royal United Services, and they have this headline: Ukraine prepares for a Russian summer offensive, and that Russia will seek to intensify operations to build pressure during negotiations, but the pressure cannot be sustained indefinitely. We'll love your take on what you think is happening as this escalates.
Well, there's no doubt that Russia will do another offensive this summer. They're certainly in preparation for that. But, I mean, right in front of us, I think clearly what is happening is Russia is not going to any peace ceasefire, temporary for 30 days or so, and certainly not to a permanent one in the near term. They've been unwilling to make any concessions whatsoever. And I think the fact that they continue to target civilians and kill civilians, I believe, is Putin's attempt to put more pressure on the president, because the president got involved in stopping this war largely because of the killing that's taken place. And he said it time and time again, and I think it's very sincere about that. And Putin sees that as an opportunity to put pressure on the president to get him to back away. And I think that's what's happening. And listen, 25 years we've known Putin. And for those 25 years, he's been a war criminal that has targeted civilians. He's doing it right now, as we see, on a daily basis. He began in 2000 when he took power in Chechnya, killing tens of thousands of Chechnyans in villages, destroying entire villages and neighborhoods in Grozny. He was trying to chase down radicals who believed were a threat to his regime. But he was targeting civilians primarily. And then in Aleppo, Syria, in 2015 and 16, tens of thousands of people, carpet bombing not seen since World War II, using chlorine bombs, using deep penetration bombs to penetrate hospitals that were built under the ground because of the air campaign. This is the history of the war criminal, Vladimir Putin. And he's up to it again here, right in front of our eyes. And I think it's time for the president to pull the trigger here and crippling sanctions along with the Senate and the House and what the Europeans want to do, and also continue to provide military assistance to Ukraine is absolutely essential. That will get Putin's attention for sure.
And do those sanctions have to be, what is the scope and scale of those sanctions for it to have an impact that would be noticeable right away?
Well, of course, Putin has never really been that intimidated by sanctions because he always believes he can work around them. And he has done a large part of that when the war began and the United States and Europe imposed sanctions on him. But the sanctions that are planned now are much more targeted. They're on secondary sources who are certainly buying his oil, gas, and uranium, and also on the central banks. Both of those sanctions will have more adverse impact on him. And listen, his defense industrial base is really challenged. China is helping him quite a bit, certainly, as is Iran, and to a lesser degree, North Korea. But it is very challenging. He's losing hundreds of tanks within a couple of month period, and he can only produce 25 to 30 a month to catch up to that. So he has challenges, and of course the casualties are well known that he's taken. He's closing in on close to 50,000 casualties a month now. It was over close to 40,000 in 2024. So
how vulnerable is
he wants to convey the message. Yeah, Putin wants to convey the message to his people that he's resisting the United States and NATO, who are encroaching him, and he's the dominating player here. He's overwhelming Ukraine. Zelensky has conceded. He wants to go to the negotiations. He wants a ceasefire. The people of Ukraine want the same thing. He starts to run out of ammunition from the United States come the summer. And we've got to continue to provide that, or obviously Ukraine's going to be in trouble. And that's what Putin is counting on, that the United States will back away. That's the card he is playing here, Dana.
General Jack Keane, lots to think about, and we appreciate you walking us through it. We'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, you take care.